In Miami, Florida, Instagram and Onlyfans model Courtney Clenny extradited back to Florida, charged with the murder of her boyfriend. She has a new photo going viral, her booking photo. We have the latest.
Now, Clenny is finding that her fame has a downside.
Yeah, you should go, because you just killed your boyfriend.
In the low country of South Carolina, Alec Murdock's family once ruled the local criminal law community. Now, Alec is on the other side, charged with the brutal execution-style murders of his wife and son. We have the latest from court today.
Your Honor, I'm not done. If I could be heard without being interrupted and hijacked by the state as they continue to try to hide the ball on this case.
And on the docket in Kern County, California, the Cal City Toddlers, Orrin and Orson West, have been missing since 2020. But now their adoptive parents have been charged with their murder. We have a preview of their upcoming trial on Court TV.
We need to stand in justice for this baby, because this baby should had never gone through this.
Plus, Johnny Depp makes a big splashdown on the MTV Video Music Awards. Tonight's 13th Juror Question. Is Johnny's career taking off or crashing after his big win inside a Fairfax County Virginia courtroom? Get ready. This hour of closing arguments starts right now. I'm Vinnie Politan. This is Closing Arguments, and many of you may have children, teenagers, 20-year-olds, whatever, and they spend a lot of time on their computers, on their personal electronic devices, doing whatever they're doing, right? And you might think, hey, they're just wasting their time, wasting their lives. Get out there, go, learn something, make some money, get a job. Well, a lot of those young people are making a lot of money online. Some of those kids that are just gaming all day long are making thousands and thousands of dollars by people who like to watch them play video games. I don't understand it. I'll never understand it, but it's a thing. Then you've got, just walk down a busy street anywhere and you'll see someone doing one of these, or have their friend do it, whatever, and they're just taking pictures. Why are you taking pictures of yourself? What a waste of time. How vain are you? Well, it's also a business, especially for young, attractive women and men who take pictures of themselves that other people want to see. And, you post them on Instagram, maybe just to get a little attention, and then you say, hey, you want to see the real good pictures? I've got a website for you. It's called Onlyfans. Just pay me, I don't know, $10, $20, $30 a month, and you'll see the pictures that I'm not going to post on Instagram. That was the business model for a young woman named Courtney Clenny. Her online name was Courtney Taylor, and she posted a lot of pictures and had a lot of subscribers and was making a lot of money doing just that. But now her life has completely changed because the life of her boyfriend has ended, and she's charged with doing it. Joy Lim Nakrin, Court TV legal correspondent, has the story tonight.
A social media sensation, now a suspected killer. 26-year-old Courtney Taylor Clenny is charged with second-degree murder in the death of her 27-year-old boyfriend, Christian Obumseli.
The chief medical examiner of Miami-Dade County determined that Christian's cause of death was a stab to the chest. Christian was stabbed as the knife punctured the subclavian artery in his right chest.
It all happened following a fight at the couple's luxury apartment in Miami's upscale Edgewater neighborhood, and prosecutors say fights were common in this volatile relationship.
Evidence gathered during the investigation of Christian's death showed that since November of 2020, he and the defendant, Clenny, had been involved in an extremely tempestuous and combative relationship.
Officials say their apartment building management received so many complaints about their loud fights, they came close to being evicted. Building cameras captured this fight in February, just weeks before Obumseli was killed.
The chief medical examiner further determined that the knife entered Christian's chest in a downward angle to the depth of 3 inches. In other words, the medical examiner has indicated that the fatal knife wound, which entered Christian's chest, was the result of a forceful downward thrust penetrating to the depth of over just 3 inches into that artery you just saw.
Clenny's attorney claims she was acting in self-defense after Obumseli attacked her. In this statement to Court TV, Frank Prieto states, quote, "It is an absolute injustice to charge a victim of domestic violence and human trafficking with a crime." He went on to say, "We will vigorously defend Courtney and clear her of this unfounded and baseless charge." But questions are being raised about her claim. This video suggests Clenny was the aggressor, as it captures her repeatedly striking Obumseli. Clenny's attorney notes that the video does not depict the events leading up to what was captured in the elevator, and in a statement said, quote, "Obumseli was the abuser, the worst kind of abuser. He would manipulate and abuse Courtney in private when he thought nobody was around."
The violent and toxic 2-year relationship of Christian Obumseli and Courtney Clenny did not have to end in tragedy with Christian's murder as a victim of domestic violence.
The Onlyfans star first rose to fame as a bodybuilder.
My name is Courtney Taylor, and I'm about 8 days out from my first show, the NPC West Coast Classic. And today we're going to hit some back and vice, so let's get started.
She soon became a social media celebrity with some 2 million followers on Instagram, where she frequently posted pictures of the man she's now accused of murdering.
This homicide has gained some notoriety since the defendant, Clenny, is an internet social media personality and influencer under the name of Courtney Taylor.
Now, Clenny is finding that her fame has a downside.
Yeah, you should go. Because you just killed your boyfriend. Yeah, you did.
Strong words from the defense in this case, that she's a victim of human trafficking. Victim, that she's the victim in all of this. That's the way this trial is going to play out. That she is the one who was being abused. She was the one who was being trafficked. I guess was being forced to do these OnlyFans videos. Let me bring in our think tank, figure this out. Joining us tonight in Englewood Cliffs, New Jersey, criminal defense attorney, former prosecutor Al Wunsch III is with us. In Stamford, Connecticut, criminal defense attorney Darnell Crosland. And in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, family law attorney Jennifer Brandt. Welcome to everyone. So Al, how does this happen? How can, because we know the allegations from the prosecution that she's abusing him, ultimately murders him. How do they attempt to establish that she's the victim of domestic violence, that she's being trafficked? I mean, there's lots of videos and pictures of her Instagram OnlyFans that have been produced. How are they gonna do that or attempt to do that, Al?
Well, one thing that they will have to do is try to get rid of any of the videos that are on OnlyFans. Because you know me, Vin, I went above and beyond the Call of Duty and went on this website to look into this young lady, and boy, was I surprised. I mean, this OnlyFans website is like a soft porn, hardcore porn site where these people get paid to engage in sexual acts, in which she's engaging in sexual acts with the man she eventually threw a knife at. And it deals with depraved miscreants who seek to only gratify one's basest and most immediate desires. And quite frankly, Ben, I found it very hard to turn away from it. But it's a very, very sad spectacle. For her to say she's being trafficked, it's going to be very difficult to convince of a jury when you're watching the videos that I saw. And for those of you at home, don't let the kids take a look at this, because this is, it's pornography. It's pornography. It's hardcore pornography. There is some soft porn. There is some people who wear bathing suits. I mean, Donna DeRico is on it. Carmen Electra is on it. My neighbor Cardi B is on it.
So Al is spending a lot of time on this website. So let's get back to the case. Darnell, Crosland.
I'm sorry.
How do you establish that your client is a victim of human trafficking when she stuck a knife in him and killed him?
Well, you start with Al's research. Hustler, Playboy, now OnlyFans. This guy's having a great time with this research. So as to the question, they've given us this idea that she was a victim of domestic violence with no sizzler. What they would have to show is that she was being held in Miami or Hawaii, wherever she is, against her will. They have to show some text messages to friends or family saying that she really doesn't want to do this, but she's being forced to do so. They're going to also have to show financial records that show that the boyfriend was the one benefiting from all of this OnlyFans stuff, and she was only getting a portion of it. That's typically what you see in these human trafficking types of scenarios. If she's controlling the bank accounts and she's living the lifestyle, and she's, as this video shows, the abuser, they're going to have a hard time showing that. That's my opinion on that.
Yeah, I mean, if you are the victim of trafficking, this is not consistent with that. I mean, and this is one of the reasons they released this video, was to try to demonstrate to the public what was going on in this relationship. The defense very angry about the release of this video. Here's another statement from Frank Prieto, who is the attorney for Courtney Clenny. He said to the CBS News in Miami, "I feel it's important that the court be made aware that that warrant that judge signed, that he did find probable cause. However, there's not probable cause for second-degree murder. At best, it's manslaughter. At best, it's manslaughter." So they're trying to get her out on bond. She is locked up right now, Jennifer Brandt. What are your thoughts about this situation? You're a family law attorney, so obviously you've dealt with tons of cases where there's violence and allegations of violence and cross allegations of violence. Obviously, he can't accuse her of anything because he's dead, but prosecutors will allege that she is the aggressor in all this. How do you get to the truth of what's taking place behind closed doors?
Well, it is difficult because it is usually a he said, she said matter, but when you don't have half of the equation, then obviously we only have what she says. And, you know, human trafficking may be a difficult one to prove, as Al and Darnell pointed out, but domestic violence can go on. And this clip from the elevator, just because she's hitting him doesn't mean that she was necessarily the aggressor in their relationship or that she wasn't a victim of domestic violence. And so, you know, she may be able to prove that she was acting in self-defense, that she was a victim of domestic violence. And how can we prove that? I mean, maybe other people who may have witnessed their some of their relationship, or witnessed incidents where they were having fights, and maybe could testify on her behalf as to why, you know, they believe that was caused, and maybe that, you know, point the finger at him and say that he was the aggressor all along. She was in this abusive relationship and she felt that there was no other way out. They got into an altercation and, you know, she stabbed him, unfortunately. So I don't think that's so far-fetched. You know, human trafficking may be harder, but the domestic violence, you know, we saw it with the Johnny Depp trial for sure. We heard a lot about it. So, you know, I think that may be what she.
Well, what we did hear, though, the Johnny Depp trial was the testimony of Johnny Depp and Amber Heard. So, Al Wunsch, does this mean that she now has to take her show onto the witness stand? Not, you know, she's used to being in front of a camera, not necessarily used to being on a witness stand charged with murder, but it seems like she's got to, at this point, tell her story to the jury to have any chance of success.
Well, you're right, Vin. I mean, she is going to have to take the stand, and it's Florida, and the popcorn guy got off. So, you know, all bets are off as far as I'm concerned. The popcorn guy was found to be self-defense.
Yeah.
So if the self-defense with the popcorn, God only knows, it's Florida. She's beautiful. She's walking. There's no doubt in my mind.
Darnell, let me ask you a question here. When when it comes time to choose a jury in a case like this, I know that the race of potential jurors is never a consideration by any of the attorneys here with me tonight when picking a jury, because that's illegal. But do you think that the attorneys in this case might consider the race of the prospective jurors, not tell anyone that they're doing it, but may actually be doing that? What do you think?
Well, first of all, race is always a consideration when I'm picking a jury. You want to cross-reference, and the only thing that's illegal is on the Kentucky versus Batson is if you exclude jurors based on their color. But you could always consider picking a jury that's mixed, if you would, because people bring different perspectives, and you need that. So what's illegal is striking people based on their race, not picking based on their race. In this particular, you're deep South, and you have a relationship between a black man who sounds like he's African, of African descent, and you have a blonde, pretty, beautiful white woman. So some jurors may think that was the problem in the first place. So you definitely want to kind of ferret out the type of jurors that you put on there, especially down as outside in Florida, because they might come with some preconceived notions that the crime was just the two of them together in the first place. They may not be as liberal as other places. So I would certainly make sure that if I was picking a jury there, that I'd make sure that I don't have people on the jury feeling as though that she should get off because she shouldn't have been with this brutal black man anyway.
All right, folks, we're going to continue to track this story. Think Tank staying with us the whole hour. When we come back, we're going to talk about what was happening in the Low Country today. Alec Murdock back in court, charged with the murder of his wife and his son, and the attorneys were going at it. This is going to be an epic, epic case.
Your Honor, I'm not done. If I could be heard without being interrupted and hijacked by the state as they continue to try to hide the ball on this case, I'm sorry if I appear upset, but I can tell you that every time we turn around, they're trying to hide something.
I'll tell you what, when I was a young prosecutor, I did not like those moments when you're in court with one of those experienced, hardcore defense attorneys like Dick Harptulian down in the Low Country of South Carolina. He's representing Alec Murdock, the former attorney who's accused of the execution-style murder of his wife and his son. They're in a courtroom where there are pictures on the wall of his great-grandfather. I mean, they were all the solicitors down in that part of South Carolina, one generation after the other, until Alec decided to just do personal injury law, not get into the prosecution game and just make a ton of money. But apparently he was out of money, according to prosecutors, and was committing all these crimes to steal money from clients. And ultimately, they say he killed his own wife, his own son on their property. I want to show you a little bit more of what happened in court today. And remember, this is just like pretrial motions. We're not at trial. We're not fighting over guilty versus not guilty. We're just fighting over things like discovery. Take a look.
We're here for the state's motion for a protective order so that...
Your Honor, we're not here for that. We're here for the defense motion to compel.
Both motions are to be heard today, and I think that if the motion for protective orders is addressed, it makes any motion to compel moot, because, of course, as the state has been clear from day one, we've been ready to provide this discovery, but because of the sensitivity of the matters here, we think it's appropriate, out of an abundance of caution, to seek a reasonable and minimally intrusive protective order so that the discovery can be provided.
Please, the court, Your Honor, we have a motion to compel. We filed. We'd like to be heard on it. And then if they want to respond, Your Honor obviously could hear that. But we filed this motion weeks after they failed to comply with Rule 5 and Brady. And to just ignore that, I think, does a disservice to this court and the criminal justice system.
The only reason why there's...
Your Honor, I'm not done. If I could be heard without being interrupted and hijacked by the state as they continue to try to hide the ball on this case. I'm sorry if I appear upset, but I can tell you that every time we turn around, they're trying to hide something.
I'm ordering the state to comply with discovery forthwith. I'm also issuing a temporary protective order restricting the defense from disseminating any information provided until the court has issued a more formal, more permanent order. Of course, any order issued by the court may be modified, and this does not in any way limit the parties to make extrajudicial statements in accordance with the rules, nor does it restrict the parties from addressing disclosing any information independently discovered. And the court orders the unsealing of search warrants to include the providing of affidavits and returns to the search warrants.
I love South Carolina trials. The passion in the courtroom is amazing. Let's bring back in our guests, Al Wunsch, Darnell, Crosland, Jennifer Brandt. Darnell, do you like to yell at prosecutors the way Mr. Hartulian likes to?
Absolutely. That's the only way to go.
So in this case, you are going to have, and this is just a pretrial motion, the way these attorneys are going at it, is that a strategy, Darnell, to divert away from your client and try to put, if you don't have someone else to point the finger at, just to try to villainize the prosecutor and the government?
Absolutely not. I think the passion that you heard was appropriate, and it's because you have two prosecutors sitting at the table and you have one prosecutor sitting on the bench. And so when you're in those situations, you know, it's all out war. The judge is always trying to help the government. And in this particular case, you heard that. He said, I'm going to issue a limited protective order, and then until a more formal one is generated, which already tells me that instead of the defense having a chance to win, that he may not issue a protective order, he's already going to issue it, a small one, and then he's going to make it larger. Now, here's the point. The protective order, if you have a gang-related type crime, you don't want the police reports to get out there and then people start becoming dead. That's not the case here. It's not going to happen here. This is a guy who was on trial here, who was well known in the community. He might have went off the rails and killed his family, but it's not something where let's hide this police report and this Brady material so no one else gets hurt. The prosecution just are trying to usurp the defense's motion to compel. They're trying not to comply with the motion to compel. And instead of giving the discovery, they come up with their own protective order. And the judge is going to sit there in his calm voice and give them everything they want. That was great anger is needed.
Darnell sounds a little bitter. Sounds a little bitter. He wins his cases, but he sounds a little bitter. Jennifer Brandt, it took 13 months to indict this case, but now the defense is pushing. They want this trial sooner rather than later. It's the state who wants to slow things down. Do you think there's an advantage here for a speedy trial for this defendant, Alec Murdock?
Well, maybe the defense just doesn't think that the prosecution has it all together, you know, has all connected all the dots. So they think maybe if they just move fast, it'll be a better chance for acquittal for their client. And, you know, to your point earlier, I disagree with Darnell about the craziness in the courtroom. I do think that's a strategy, and I think that could be an effective strategy, especially when we've seen some verdicts coming out of these trials recently where we think, you know, we talk about it, we feel that the person is definitely guilty, but then, you know, people have a distrust now of the government and prosecutors, and making them look like a bad guy is not necessarily a bad strategy. We've seen that work before, and we've seen juries react to that. So it could be a strategy.
All right, Al, I don't have time for you to talk in this segment. What I want the viewers to do is to Google Al Wunsch, W-N-C-S-H, right?
No, W-U-S-C-H.
I'm sorry. Anyway, Google Al if you want to see someone yelling inside of a courtroom, because that video exists online. I've seen it. I have seen it. It's scary.
They're easy, Glenn. Pound on the law, pound on the facts, pound on the table.
Yeah.
That's my motto.
Exactly. It's you know, we're going to try to get rights to that video so we can play it one week. Anyway.
I'm going to Google it.
Yeah.
I'm Googling it.
When we come back, we're going to talk about the Cal City Toddlers. This is a case they'll get you angry. It gets everyone angry. These two beautiful children were put into our system, right? They were then adopted. The biological family was doing everything they could to try to get the kids reunited with their blood. But now these two children have been missing since 2020, and the parents who were given the okay to adopt them, charged with their murders. That story next.
It's absolutely disgusting. You know, I don't understand how Kern County, they went all the way around of the system of contacting me or Dana to come get our grandkids. I mean, how hard is that? And as far as Frizzell and them changing their names, I mean, come on. I mean, that's shady enough as it is right there.
That was Leif Dean. We spoke to him on this program. His two grandsons are missing, and their adoptive parents have been charged with their murder. But the adoptive parents, when they adopted the children who had already been named, changed their names, changed their first names. Like, who does that? And it just the beginning of a case that will get your blood boiling. Our great affiliate, KERO, in Bakersfield, California, has been covering this story from the beginning. Here's Brianna Willis reporting on the timeline of what happened to the Cal City Toddlers.
Where are the boys? Where are the boys? Where are the boys? Where are the boys?
It was December 21st, 2020. Orrin and Orson West, also known as Classic and Sincere, were first reported missing in California City by their adoptive parents, Terzell and Jacqueline West. Days after that time, the West parents telling 23 ABC they understand that people would accuse them of the disappearance.
And that's understandable. What's your response to that? That's understandable. I would think the same thing.
And the Cal City Police Chief John Walker assuring the community his department was looking for clues day in and day out at the start of the investigation.
We're just trying to dig up any clues that we can possibly find to find out where they had gone and also to confirm that they're not in the backyard.
The disappearance prompting a massive search effort involving not only Cal City Police, but the Bakersfield Police Department, the FBI, and the community. Then month after month, the community rallied together for searches, marches, and vigils, all to find the boys.
Where are the boys? No boys, no beats! Where are the boys? No boys, no beats!
And reward money for information and the return of the boys continued to grow in 2021 as local businesses, community members, and a private investigator joined the search efforts for the boys.
There was some elements that stood out about the foster families' interviews that pretty much compelled me to participate and come out and do what we could to help find both of these boys.
Billboards with the boys' faces and the rewards started to appear in February 2021 in Kern County. But after 8 weeks, Cal City Police confirmed they have no suspects in the case. In March 1st, 2021, the Bakersfield Police Department officially took over the case. They continued the search in Cal City and Southeast Bakersfield for the boys, issuing a search warrant to the adoptive grandparents and more than 20 more search warrants in the case. It wasn't until June 2021, BPD gave an update on the case, announcing 170 items have been seized, 83 individuals have been interviewed, 44 search warrants have been conducted, 16 mass area searches have been done, 3 searches outside of California, and 200 plus tips have been received and followed up on, but still, the boys have not been located. Then month after month, the community continued to come together with prayer vigils and hoping for answers for the boys. But December, nearly 1 year after they were first reported missing, BPD provided an update saying since June, they executed 4 more search warrants, interviewed 33 more people, conducted 11 mass area searches, and 4 out-of-state searches. During the 1-year anniversary, we spoke to the biological family who said they just want answers.
Some kind of answers. It's been a year. We deserve something.
Yes, yes.
That's, I mean, it's only right.
Orson's biological father saying regardless of the circumstances, he will always be here for the boys.
I still got them. They should know that I still love them, that I'm always going to have their backs regardless of the fact those are my kids. Like, you know, that's something that you'll miss in life that you can never get back.
Now, just 14 months after they were first reported missing, the Kern County grand jury indicted the adoptive parents, Terzell and Jacqueline West, for the murder of Orrin and Orson West. They were arrested March 1st around 7 p.m. near Highway 58 in Enos Lane. Kern County District Attorney Cynthia Zimmer announcing the investigation unveils that the boys are dead. But Zimmer added that the bodies have not been found, and now the family is still searching for answers.
The question is now, where are the boys' bodies? We want to be able to bring them home and, you know, give them a proper burial.
Never should have happened. Let's bring back in our think tank, Al Wunsch, Darnell, Crosland. Jennifer Brandt, family law attorney. Explain to me how on earth these children, I understand you get put in the foster care system. I always thought the goal was reunification with the biological family. You have grandparents that were trying to follow the program, a mother trying to follow. Why would you adopt them out to a young couple who has 4 other children that are young?
Yeah.
Come on. 6 kids? No way is that the best interest of any child. Now they're charged with murder. How does this happen?
I don't know, Vinny. You know, you hear about these kind of things happening, and there are people out there that, you know, really do want children and, you know, want to be good foster parents and then be adoptive parents. But you're right with what you said earlier. Usually the goal is reunifying the children with their biological family, with a grandparent, with another family member if the parents aren't available or aren't able to take the children. So how these complete strangers got the children, how the children didn't go with the family, it sounds like a failure in the system. But we don't know. We don't know what the grandparents were really doing and how involved they were at the time. You know, bottom line, these people got a hold of these children through the foster system, and it's just tragic that these poor children are missing, and who knows what really happened to them. We don't even want to know.
Yeah, I don't understand how you look at the situation of these parents. They already had 4 kids that were young, and we're not talking about people that have nannies or help. No, they're struggling. No. They are absolutely. How could it be in the best interest of those kids to be there? And I know money isn't everything, but I mean, any of us who've been parents know how difficult it is with, you know, 1 young one or 2 young ones. 6? No way. Ridiculous, absurd, especially when you have a biological family that was trying to follow the program here. Al Wunsch, let's get to the criminal case. If, and again, this is the if these adoptive parents are factually innocent, right? Not like we didn't prove it, no, factually innocent. This is the easiest case ever to win if they're factually innocent. The prosecution has alleged a murder timetable of September. The children were reported missing by the adoptive parents in December. All you have to do is demonstrate some proof of life between September and December of those 2 cute little kids. Like, you don't have 1 photograph on your phone of these kids. Is this not the easiest case to prove if they're factually innocent?
It should be the easiest case to prove if they're factually innocent. You're correct. I mean, the prosecution, they've hedged their bet a little bit by going for a superseding indictment and bringing in more things that could possibly have caused the death of these kids. They could have ingested drugs. They could have fallen from a chair. They could have been hit by a bus. I mean, for all we know, they were not being watched properly or something along those lines. So the prosecution is hedging their bet. And you're right. If a photograph comes between that timeline, the state's going to have an awful hard time trying to convince a jury that they have a solid case and that they're not just grasping at straws. So the prosecution you know, they're playing with house money though, Vin, and you know how that is. Whenever you're playing with house money, you can afford to be a little crazy.
Well, the problem that the defense has here is it's not one child, it's two children. So if you want to talk about some accident or something happening, but there's two of them. There's two of them, and it's 2 out of 6. 2 out of 6. And they have a story about what they say happened. That the two kids, you know, they were wrapping Christmas gifts, and he's out chopping wood in the freezing cold, and they just disappeared like that. I mean, there's a story they are locked into here. So, Darnell, your thoughts? I mean, come on. If you have that photograph, who would not take a million pictures, first of all, of these two kids? But you have to have at least one. How could you not take at least one picture of your children in a 2-month time period in the year 2020 when everyone's locked up inside during COVID? Come on, Darnell, right? I mean, to me, that is, and if that picture exists, you would show it right now, wouldn't you? You're not waiting for the trial. You're saying, look, Mr. Prosecutor, here's the proof of life picture.
Instagram, Twitter, these are the things that these young people live for. And so they will take pictures and be posting them every place. But you know, I have an article up here on my computer, Gabby Petito and One Way to Break Media's Missing White Woman Syndrome. That's by the Los Angeles Times. And I have to applaud Court TV and that community that I've been watching, because I can get a little bit angry sometimes, but I'm very emotional to see how this family has garnered so much support from the community. And these are Black kids, and typically, as we saw it in many articles about Gabby Petito and how the media responds to missing white women, this family and this community with these billboards and the way they marched and the way they came out, I have to applaud them, and I have to applaud Court TV tonight for even further showing this, because these kids deserve this type of attention. It's unfortunate what happened to them, and you know, it does my heart warm to see this. I was in court on the docket today at 2 o'clock. I represent a woman who has a young baby, a couple months old, that has 15 broken ribs, and the father wants to give up custody, etc. But they won't give the kids to the family of my client, because they said we don't know for 100% certain what happened. So now the child's with foster care. So until you get 100%, you're going to put the child in foster care outside of the family and not to any of them. And it breaks my heart. So we're there from 2 to 4 o'clock today fighting the same thing. And like you said, Al, this is ridiculous. 6 kids, young family, you know, difficult. And so, yeah, it breaks my heart.
All right. When we come back, time to hear from you. Oh, we've got a trial date. Let me put it up on the screen. We got the trial date here for the case against Trezell and Jacqueline West, October 24th. October 24th, readiness hearing on the 14th, but the trial date, October 24th. When we come back, we're going to hear from you. Johnny Depp making his first appearance on the small screen since 2017, other than that 3-month trial. There he is on the MTV Video Music Awards. We asked you tonight, this appearance and where he is his career now taking off, or is it crashing? Your verdict next. Johnny Depp made a surprise appearance as the Moon Man at MTV's Video Music Awards Sunday night. This comes nearly 3 months after the verdict in his defamation trial against his former wife, Amber Heard. It's Depp's first major public debut since the trial. The 59-year-old actor was hoisted from the ceiling while wearing the iconic astronaut outfit with his face digitally inserted into the costume's helmet. And as he floated above the stage, he joked early on in the show that he, quote, needed the work. Afterwards, Depp took to Instagram, where he posted a clip of his surprise cameo along with the caption, guess who? Take a look.
I just want you guys to know that I'm available for birthdays, bar mitzvahs, bat mitzvahs, weddings, wakes, any old thing you need.
Well, this move garnering some mixed reactions online, with some people criticizing the bizarre appearance. So we posted about this to our social media pages, and we asked you, the 13th juror, is Johnny's career taking off or crashing after his big courtroom win? Let's take a look at our 13th juror. Comment of the day comes from Jean, or is it Jean? I believe it's Jean. Johnny Depp is very likable. He is starting off a new era in his career. We've seen him on screen since he was a kid. He's now 59. I can't wait to see what roles he'll be cast in, hopefully bigger than the MTV Moon Man. All right, Al, is Johnny Depp crashing or taking off right now?
Ground control to Major John. Don't be the space oddity. Okay, this is a horrendous thing. And it's appropriate, though, we're talking about this on the birthday of Michael Jackson, by the way. And 64 years ago, 64 years old he would be today. But remember, Vinny, the interesting thing about this, in space, no one can hear you scream.
Interesting. Malik tonight, crashing. He's trash. Darnell, Crosland, what do you think? Johnny Depp taking off or crashing?
In Hollywood, they say when you're doing really well, they say you're going straight to the moon. So it's appropriate that he's the moon man. And I think that he's controlling. He made a great joke of this, and he shows that he's calm, cool. He came out of this situation with Amber Heard, and he's on top. So whether he just decides to retire wealthy or take on many roles, he's in control. And to me, that's winning.
Teresa tonight, crashing? Are you kidding me? He has more fans than ever before. He's fine. Jennifer Brandt, your thoughts about Johnny Depp in the post-trial career?
I agree with Teresa and Darnell on this one. Absolutely, he's taking off to the moon. He is doing better than ever and has a lot younger fans, as you can see on the MTV Video Awards. A lot of young people that may not have even known him or really didn't know about him are now his fans. So I think he's doing really well.
Becky, love that he said he needed the money. It's a nice statement for legality reasons, LOL. Al, he mentioned he could do bar or bat mitzvahs. Your thoughts on that?
Well, I was thinking of hiring him myself, but I just want to say, Vin, you brought up about my video, okay? That is on my members-only site, which is called Fans of My Face on MySpace, okay? So those of you at home, feel free to join up, and you can see wonderful videos of me and my Moon Man impersonation with Darth Vader and the rest of the crew during a trial where I wasn't wearing a mask.
And I heard that Al's available for bar and bat mitzvahs too, Vin.
Yes, and Asia's Kyle's and First Communions and any other event where, and remember, if you have a fall, give me a call.
No soft porn, Al. No soft
Darnell,
porn.
I'll give you the final word tonight.
Oh, the final word is out. No soft porn, Al. No soft porn.
Wait a minute, Darnell, remember I borrowed your code word to get into that fans-only site. So
there's your music, Al. There's your exit music.
Exit.
Al Wunsch, Darnell Crosland, Jennifer Brandt. Appreciate it. Great job as always. Thank you so much. We'll see you again very soon.